Well, good evening, folks. Welcome to Friday Night Tech Talk. And here we are live once again. If you're new here, we do this every Friday. I pick some articles talking about some tech stories from last Friday to this Friday some tech stories for the week. And we discuss them a bit in the comments. If you're new here, please type something in the comments so we'll know you're here and let us know where you're from. First one in here was Brian. He was here very early tonight, like an hour ago. And we're going to get to the Team Pixel stuff. He was flattering. He said, Team Pixel versus the real Team Pixel. So I was very flattered about that. So he was here. Eleanor just popped in. Hi, Eleanor. Glad you're here. Two of the most faithful subscribers ever. And if you're new here, we go over the stories, and I have them on my webpage every Friday nights for the show notes. But since the whole Team Pixel thing blew up this morning, I was going to have an article about it, do a separate story about it, and then I decided I saw Jay Williams and Michael Fisher, Mr. Mobile, both come up with some answers to it, and I decided not to. I just said, okay, I'm going to address it as soon as I start the show, and that'll be out of it. Now, it started, I gather, on X, where Mr. Who's the Boss, Marks Tech, and both had something to say about this new brand love document that supposedly the people who represent Google, not Google themselves, wanted the Team Pixel members to sign. But, and then Marks Tech also made a video about it. You can go check that out. Look on Marks Tech YouTube channel or look on Tech Odyssey's YouTube channel. Both of them made good videos about, or decent videos about it. And both gave the impression that it sounded like if you were going to continue to be part of Team Pixel and get free phones from Google, you were going to have to agree to this. So let me first start by showing you a screenshot of what it looks like. So it's called Brand Love. I gather some of the Team Pixel members had it sent to them. But anyway, it says Brand Love. By opting into this program, do you acknowledge that you are expected to feature the Google Pixel device in place, that's key, in place of any competitor mobile devices? Please note that if it appears other brands are being preferred over the Pixel, we will need to cease the relationship between the brand of the creator. So an implied threat right there. If you don't put us first, we're going to cut you off. That's what it sounds like. And that's what both Marks Tech and Tech Odyssey made it sound like. Now, Tech Odyssey said he already quit Team Pixel. But then Jay Williams scheduled a video about it. He said he wasn't going to talk about it initially, but I gathered there was so much hype about it, he felt he had to make some video. So he did a live stream, and he said he didn't get any notification that they wanted him to acknowledge this and agree to this at all. So he said this is just kind of a big nothing burger, and he convinced me. And then Michael Fisher, he had a video, I believe it was on Instagram, and same thing. The big difference seems to be this is for influencers, and as opposed to creators like Jay Williams. So there was some disagreement about whether they wanted everybody who was part of Team Pixel to acknowledge this. Obviously not, because some of them didn't even get it sent to them. And both Jay Williams and Michael Fisher both said, not true, that you don't have to take part in that to get the free phone and be a part of Team Pixel. So I just thought, let's address it right away, right up front, and get it out of the way. So I think even though there was an awful lot of stir about it for hours today, I think it ends up being kind of a big nothing. It just became a big discussion topic. And some people, I guess, were confused by it. I was initially confused by it. But in the end, I think it really didn't affect anybody. So just wanted to get that out first so I won't be pulling up an article about it or doing a story about it. And Ruthie is in here. Glad to have you here as always. She says the kids know that Nina is unavailable. And she's saying everything that I just said about Jay Williams and Michael Fisher makes sense. So I just wanted to get the whole Team Pixel thing. And of course, you know I'm not part of it. Out of the way up front. And like I say, Jay Williams was a good guy to listen to because he's been part of Team Pixel from the very beginning. He did not seek them out. They sought him out. So that's where that stands, and that's where we're going to end it. And now, again, for those of you who might be new, we'll go over to my webpage, my website, and I'll show you where you can find tonight's show notes. So if you go to mobilegeezer.wordpress.com, if you click on today's date, you'll get just the show notes for tonight's show. And every week I try to come up with some interesting stories. And if there's a big story of the week, I always have that in there. What I normally do is I start with the first story, which to me is just an interesting story, but I wait for the big story for a second story because I'm trying to give people a chance to get in here. So as always, we're going to do a little preview while we're here. So the first story, just the interest story, 12 years later, Mega Upload founder will face extradition to the U.S. from New Zealand. It's a story on Tom's Hardware. If you remember back in the early 2000s, up to 2005, 6, or 7, you know, everybody who was streaming illegally, people were getting arrested. But I gather this Mega Upload, they arrested him in New Zealand. That's where he lives in 2012. Where it's taken all these years, and now New Zealand has decided they're going to extradite him back to the United States to stand trial, and you'll see why when we go into the article. So like I said, I just wanted to start with one I thought was very interesting. Then we go to the big news of the week, the Made by Google event. I have everything announced from The Verge, so we just go over the whole thing. Very exciting, of course, for those of us who are getting anything. I don't think I am, but we'll see. And I'm following it up with just a Google Gemini AI article that I found on Phone Arena because it explains all the new Gemini stuff, that will be included with the Pixel 9 stuff. And my guess is it'll go to some of the older Pixels also. So I just thought, okay, let's just follow it up and explain all the new AI stuff. Then I found an article on Phone Arena that compared the Galaxy S24 Ultra against the Pixel 9 Pro XL, which is one of the 4 phones they debuted. So I just thought that was interesting to let you guys see what the differences are. And I could end up getting an S24 Ultra at some point. You guys know that I've stayed with my S23 Ultra. Well, I had gotten rid of it once and bought it again used. But we'll see what happens. And then I figured, okay, it's time to get off the Google stuff. So there's a story that the iPhone 17, not the one this year, next year, may be called the iPhone Air, and it's probably going to be the thinnest phone Apple has ever made. So I found an article on Tech Radar, and I just thought it might be a good article to read because they're talking about maybe you should just skip the iPhone 16. So again, interesting. And finally, because I know so many people have Samsung appliances, there's an article out there on Tom's Guide. I said Samsung and other manufacturers, electric ranger's fire hazard. And I thought, well, some of my subscribers might have a Samsung electric range. Maybe they want to know about this story, so I'm going to end it up with that. So that's going to be tonight's show. Now, I haven't heard anything from Ted. And I've had some interaction today on Telegram with Will, but it was all about the Team Pixel stuff. So I doubt that he'll be in here. If Ted pops in, that'll be great, but I haven't heard from him. So other than that, it'll be just me tonight. And Ruthie said it makes sense that influencers might want to agree with that argument, but not particularly creators. And Jay Will did a very good explanation of the difference. Me, I'm just a creator. Me, I'm a little creator. So that's how I see myself. All right, so let's go on to the first story. And I don't know if any of you remember Mega Upload, but we'll go into Tom's Hardware and we'll take a look at this story. This was from I think it's from yesterday. Yeah. And it was by Jeff Butts. Mega Upload founder will be extradited to the U.S. to face criminal charges. Now, defunct file-sharing website had cost film studios and record companies over $500 million. So you know they're going to make sure he gets prosecuted. Mega Upload co-founder calls out the obedient U.S. colony, in this case he means New Zealand, in the South Pacific for the decision. He's not happy. He's still going to fight the extradition. I think he's got a little bit time to fight it. So let's drop this into reader view and get rid of some of these ads. And like I said, if you remember back to 2005-06, a lot of companies the FBI were taking away their stuff and, charged people with it a lot. I hadn't heard of a story like this in years, but I guess that took them this long to get this guy extradited. So after a dozen years of court hearings in New Zealand, the country's justice minister, and get this guy's name, I guess it's his real name, but who would have thought, has announced Kim Dotcom, that's his last name, Dotcom, will be extradited to the United States. Talk about a perfect name for a tech guy. Once brought to the U.S., Dotcom faces numerous criminal charges related to the now-defunct file-sharing website Mega Upload. Justice Minister Paul Goldsmith signed the extradition order on August 15th, so just yesterday, according to a statement from the New Zealand Minister of Justice. Goldsmith said he considered all the information carefully before agreeing to the extradition. Dotcom will be allowed a short period to prepare for his extradition. I guess if this guy had been around in 2000, he would have got automatically canceled with a name like .com. I just find that amazing. Brian says, I wonder what differentiates an influencer versus a content creator or a tech reviewer. Take a look at Jay Will's video on it. He explains it pretty well. Influencers are, thought to be really influencing people, where creators are just trying to, like me and like Jay Will, just trying to show you the difference between that product and that product, or tell you what we think of a product, whether you think that you should buy or not. So it's different than an influencer. But like I say, take a look at his video. He explained it very well. And let's see, we didn't get to the story for the air yet, but Ruthie's asking about it. I'll come back to that, Ruthie, when we get to that story. Okay, Dotcom is German-born, but lives in New Zealand. He and 3 executives from the Mega Upload site were arrested in 2012 after a raid on Dotcom's mansion in Auckland. These included the company's chief marketing officer, Finn Potato. Now, as soon as I saw this guy's name, of course, my sixth sense of humor went potato, but that you guys know what I'm like. And chief technical officer and co-founder Matthias Ortmann, both from Germany. Also arrested was a third executive, Dutch national Bram van der Kolk. U.S. authorities say Mega Upload cost film studios and record companies more than $500 million by encouraging paying users to store and share copyrighted movies, TV shows, and music files. These files reportedly generated over $175 million in revenue for the website. So you can see why he has a mansion. The website was also apparently used to share files among members of the U.S. military and other government workers. Investigators found 15,634 registered users with email addresses belonging to various branches of the U.S. military services. So I guess if they were overseas, that must have been a good place to get stuff from. After .com's arrest in January 2012, he lost access to 1,103 servers with, get this, with around 25 petabytes of data. A petabyte is 1,000 gigabytes, so we're talking a lot of data. A year later, he showed off one of the many racks with many servers about to be launched for the still struggling website. Each rack, he said, would be able to store, and I said it's 1,000 terabytes of data, a petabyte. So each rack, he said, would be able to store 720 terabytes of data. So that's a whole lot of data. .com can still appeal the court's decision. In a thread on X, he lambasted that the obedient U.S. colony, New Zealand, in the South Pacific just decided to extradite me for what users uploaded to Mega Upload, and confirmed his battle wasn't yet over. .com expressed hope that he would still avoid extradition. By the time the appeals are done, if ever, the world will be a very different place, he wrote. Now, if I had to guess, I would guess the companies that he costs money, they're going to make sure he gets prosecuted, because you know how they don't like their money messed with that way. Ortman and van der Kolk agreed to plea deals in 2023 that allowed them to serve jail time in New Zealand while avoiding extradition to the U.S. Potato, on the other hand, died in New Zealand in 2022. So only the one guy, the big shot, is going to have to come back to the U.S. to stand trial. But I would think those corporations that he costs money are going to make sure he gets it, because this is what they did back in the early 2000s. So let's get out of here. Let's see. Ruthie had watched Jay Williams' video about the Team Pixel thing too. She said Jay Williams' video today was very good. He explained the difference between influencer and content creator, which I never knew one from the other. I kind of knew, but he made it much clearer. So go watch his video. Okay, and Ruthie had asked, Mac Air, iPad Air, next year iPhone Air, would that be instead of the iPhone SE4? They're not sure, really. But Brian said only a single camera on that last photo. I would also guess maybe the SE4. So we'll see, but we'll get to the article. Now we're going to move on to the big story of the week, of course, the Made by Google event. Made by Google hardware event, everything announced, and I pulled that up on The Verge. And of course, this was from Tuesday, the day of the event. Everything Google announced at the Pixel 9 launch event. Google's Pixel 9 lineup is its biggest yet, with 4 phones, by Emma Roth. So let's jump into review. Google just wrapped up its Made by Google hardware event, where we got an official look at the refreshed Pixel 9 lineup and updates across Google's other devices. Even though the Pixel event confirmed many of the leaks we've seen over the past several weeks, Google still shared some announcement we haven't heard about yet. Here's a roundup of all the exciting news from Google's Pixel 9 event. The lineup gives you another Pro to choose from. That's right, there's 3 Pros. Pixel 9 lineup adds a smaller Pro option, which is true. Google has finally taken the wraps off its Pixel 9 lineup, which includes 3 slab phones and a folding phone. The regular lineup consists of a base Pixel 9 with a 6.3-inch display, a Pixel 9 Pro XL with a 6.8-inch screen and a new smaller Pixel 9 Pro option measuring 6.3 inches, the same size as the regular Pixel. The trio of devices comes with Google's updated G4 Tensor chip, better battery life, and a new satellite SOS feature. While the Pixel 9's $799 starting price is $100 more than last year's model, the Pixel 9 Pro starts at $999, and the Pro XL will cost $1,099. The Pixel 9 and 9 Pro XL start shipping on August 22nd, with availability for the smaller Pixel 9 Pro starting in September. And Annette popped in here. Hey, Annette, glad to have you here. Have to get ready for E-Waste event. Kids are back in school. I can understand that. And I know you always go back and watch us on the replay. Thanks for popping in. Okay. The Pixel 9 Pro Fold gets bigger screens and a slimmer profile. The Pixel 9 Pro Fold is thinner than last year's Fold, measuring 5.1 millimeters when unfolded compared to 5.8 millimeters, so they made it a little smaller. In addition to 3 new standard Pixel devices, Google showed off the Pixel 9 Pro Fold. The refreshed Fold is taller and thinner than its predecessor, offering larger displays measuring 6.3 inches on the outside and 8 inches on the inside. So larger on the outside and inside, but thinner. Let's take it out of reader view for a minute, see if there's a picture there, because I don't remember. Yeah, there it is. So that's what it looks like. So it's thinner, but larger displays both inside and out. So back to reader view. Just want to let you guys see that. Oh, now the picture shows up, of course. Before it didn't show up in reader view. You never know. Okay. The device, which also comes with a G4 Tensor chip like they all do, features an inner display with a higher peak brightness at 2700 nits as opposed to 1450. So that's a big jump on the original Pixel Fold. The Pixel 9 Pro Fold costs $1,799 and starts shipping on September 4th. So again, $1,800. AI features galore. Oh, and here's Ted. There you are. Oh, wait a minute. I'm trying to end you. There you are. His face was there for a split second. He likes to mess with us. You know that, right? Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay, good. All right, I'm going over the Pixel event. Did you hear what I said in the beginning about today's big to-do about the Team Pixel?
Nope.
Oh, well, it turned out it was a big nothing burger. Basically, I'll just give you the quick. Mark's Tech and Tech Odyssey had both made videos about it. They made it sound like if you were going to be part of Team Pixel, you had to agree to this new stuff they put out, and they wanted you to make the Pixel above every other phone, and you weren't allowed to talk any other phone above it. And they made it sound like they were requiring Team Pixel members to agree to it. Well, then Jay Williams and Michael Fisher both made videos saying, no, they didn't have to agree to it, and it's not a big deal at all. Jay Williams said they didn't even send it to him, and he's one of the original members of Team Pixel. So I think it ended up being kind of a nothing burger, but it was a big deal online for a while. And Tech Odyssey did say he notifies them that he officially quit Team Pixel. So that's where we are. And Eric is in here. What's up, Eric? Glad to have you here, brother. So anyways, so the whole Team Pixel thing seems like it was kind of a big deal about nothing, much ado about nothing. So I'm going to go back to the Made by Google event. So I'm down to, okay, AI features. And I have another article more in depth about the AI features following this one. Uh, of course, Google's new Pixel devices feature the company's Gemini AI assistant, which you can use to find information within your apps or ask a question about a photo you just took. The Pixel 9 lineup also ships 2 new AI apps, Pixel Screenshots, which they'll tell us more in the next article, which uses on-device AI to let you search for information and save screenshots, and Pixel Studio, a text-to-image generator. Google tossed in some AI image editing tools to go along with the Pixel 9's lineups. Upgraded cameras such as Add Me option that puts someone in a group photo by stitching 2 scenes together. Everybody seemed very taken with that. Magic Editor in Google Photos now also lets you use generative AI to replace entire sections of a photo like the sky. So again, pretty impressive stuff. Google Pixel Watch 3 has larger 45 millimeter options. Yeah, now there's 2 sizes. The design hasn't changed much. Google's Pixel Watch 3 comes in a larger 45 millimeter option alongside the 41 millimeter, which is what the first one was. In addition to thinner bezels that offer more screen real estate, the Pixel Watch 3 has new ultra wideband chip. Pixel Watch 3 has a new ultra wideband chip, a brighter display that hits up to 2,000 nits. That's pretty bright, and a boatload of new fitness features. One of the most notable features coming to the Pixel Watch 3 is the ability to detect whether the wearer's pulse has stopped. Yes, they seem to make a big deal about that too. Allowing it to call emergency services if the wearer doesn't respond to a prompt to check in and it doesn't sense any movement, which I thought was pretty cool in the demo. This feature will roll out in Europe to start, so not even here in the US yet, because they all have different rules. The 41 megapixel Pixel Watch 3 starts at $349.99 with Bluetooth, while the 45 millimeter watch starts at $399.99. Both sizes will be available on September 6th. Pixel Buds Pro 2 gets upgrades inside and out. And I have the original Pixel Buds, which I use today, but I'm probably not going to be getting anything here. It's my guess. Not only are Google's Pixel Buds Pro 2 smaller and lighter, but they now come equipped with 11 millimeter drivers and a new Tensor A1 chip that's supposed to improve active noise cancellation, ANC. The new buds also have a wing fin design. A lot of people like that. I remember Mike liked the wing fin design a lot, which should help them stay in your ears during a workout, along with up to 8 hours of audio playback with ANC enabled. At $229, the Pixel Buds Pro 2 costs a bit more than their predecessors, which launched at $200. They start shipping on September 26th. And here's the last piece. Gemini Live, which Google first announced at I/O in May, is rolling out now to Gemini Advanced subscribers. The new voice chat option lets you ask Google's AI assistant questions out loud, and it will respond using your choice of 10 different voices. Just like ChatGPT's voice assistant, Gemini Live will let you talk conversationally, and you can even interrupt it mid-sentence. So that was everything announced at the event, and I thought I should get that out of the way and talk about that a little bit. Let's see, nothing new other than Eric saying hello to everybody. So that's that. All right, Ted, you still there? No, don't tell me Ted's in. His teeth are still there.
And there's my, yes, you were a 2-for-1 deal. You get the teeth, you get me.
Okay. Hey, are you going to let us see you tonight or not?
Okay, give me the 411. What's going on with it?
I got it.
Yes.
Okay, my next story, I wanted to go a little more in depth with the new Gemini stuff. Do you want to take that one?
Yes.
Okay. All right. I'm pulling it up now. All right. I've got this on Phone Arena. Google Gemini AI. What's new? So whenever you're ready, I'm going to drop it into read. This is published on the event again, and it's Fata Ermankova. She does a lot of their stories. So I'm putting into reader view, and you can go whenever you're ready, Ted. If I can get it to go into okay.
But you didn't have a story about the whole, I guess, what was it called? The contracts, the media release?
No, I said in the beginning I was going to do a story about it, but then when Jay Will and Michael Fisher convinced me it was the whole thing was kind of a nothing, or much to do about nothing, I decided not to do that, and I said that in the beginning. That's why
okay.
I actually showed them the document itself in the beginning too. So, all right. So whenever you're ready.
Because I'm gonna have to watch their videos because it looks like there's a difference between an influencer and a content creator.
Right, and watch Jay Wills. He explains it very well.
As to Google's understanding of an influencer and a content creator,
I don't know his understanding. I don't know about Google's understanding. He can't speak for Google.
I mean, but no, Google will, make their understanding clear. Like, like the different levels of Google. Like you have
all these years,
like
Google
you have
has
Pixel
never,
fans, and then you have made for Google.
All these years, Google has never made it clear what the difference between an influencer and a creator is. So I don't think they're going to do it now. I'm just glad
but
that
Google has made it clear, like, the levels of preferential treatment certain groups of people get when it comes to Pixel
but
products.
They have never defined what the difference is. John does, so I'll stick with John.
No, I mean, for me, like me and Mike, we're in the Pixel fan, the Pixel fans. Like we get little snag, we get little swag items, but we don't get the hardware. And then there's the other tier above that.
Yeah.
Oh, but let me get the story.
Ruthie said they said that. Wait, Ruthie said they said that something called Nano Live would be available for the Pixel 8a, which I would get. Is that the same thing as Gemini Live? It's like, the way I understand it, it's like a smaller, maybe chopped down version of Gemini Live. So, all right, whenever you're ready, Ted.
All right. So Google just unveiled its Pixel lineup. Very good. Including the flagship Pixel 9 series, the Pixel Watch 3, the Pixel Buds Pro 2. But the Made by Google event is not just about shiny new hardware. AI is front and center yet again, with Google Gemini taking the spotlight. Basically, Google Gemini is the AI system that comes with the new Pixel 9 phones, and really any Pixel phone since the 7. Or has it come to the 6?
But the AI is much more on the 9 series than it's been in the past.
Mm-hmm. It is built to be a more useful and insightful helper, pulling info from the web, your Google account, and your Google device. And with a fresh update to Gemini, Google is naturally also rolling out a bunch of new AI features. So let us dig into what's coming. So Gemini AI on the 9 series. Use my resume and Google Drive to write a new bio for work. Is that true? Let me see.
What?
I still Google Assistant on here. Okay, I can't. I would do that right now.
Are you looking? Oh, okay.
I was about to pull it up and do it on my own device. You got Gemini.
I don't have my Pixel 8a today. I didn't take it to work with me. I took my.
Do you have any Gemini devices?
I have the Pixel 8a.
Yeah, all right, yeah. Do exit that prompt. Use my resume in Google Drive to write a new bio for work. Let's see what happens.
Well, no, I can't. I don't have it with me today. All I have with me today is the OnePlus 12 and my iPhone. My iPhone 15 Pro Max.
Google. Live to another day. Pixel 9 series comes back with a new G4 chipset designed to run Google's cutting-edge AI models. The tech giant claims that Gemini Nano with multimodality is the most advanced on-device AI model, allowing your phone to understand not just text, but also images, audio, and speech. So with this powerhouse of an AI model on board, here is what is new with the Gemini AI on Pixel. We have Gemini Live, a new feature designed to make your interactions with the AI feel more natural and intuitive. How? Well, you can change topics or interrupt the conversation at any time, and Gemini will seamlessly keep up. At first, Gemini Live will only be available to Gemini Advanced subscribers. However, if you purchase any of the 3 Pro phones, you will get a year of Google One AI Premium included. Don't want it. New
Yeah,
native Pixel.
wait, did you watch the event at all?
Nope. I barely
Okay,
knew
well,
it was Pixel Day.
on the event, the Google Gemini Live feature and with them interrupting conversations, it seemed pretty impressive. I mean, it really was like a conversation. So I got to say that. And Ruthie, I think the Nano is like a cut down version. So hopefully, be coming to my AA of that. I don't think it's going to be as good as Gemini Live, but I think it's going to be close. That's my guess.
One thing I don't want, well, I would ask is don't want was the year, the the promo offer of like 1 year of AI premium. Like
Uh-huh.
they need to fold that in with the the rest of Google subscription tiers.
Yeah, but keep in mind, as much as iPhone's been talking up their Apple Intelligence, which is going to be, I guess, what we'll get next month when our phones get updated and the new ones come out.
Ooh, that's good.
The rumor is that another year or two, they're going to be charging for it also. So it's not just Google. Google's just doing it off the bat. You didn't raise your hand to get up.
I thought I turned off the camera. I just muted it. Whoops.
No, we saw you. We saw you.
So, okay, new native Pixel weather app. With it, you will get all the weather info you need. Gemini Nano provides a quick summary of the day's forecast. Perfect if you don't want to sift through all the numbers to get the big picture.
Yeah, and they showed that and it looked pretty good too.
Okay. Magic list. Struggling with the recipe or ingredient list? Just say, help me make a grocery list for, let's say, a taco dinner for 8, including a vegetarian output, and it will create the list for you. I feel like we already have this in apps, but okay.
Yeah, but this does it much better than it used to. I gotta say, at least in the demo we did. In the demo, they weren't faking it; they did all the stuff live, so you saw it when it hesitated and everything. So it was pretty impressive.
Pixel exclusive screenshots. It makes saving, organizing, and finding screenshots a breeze. Your data stays private because it operates completely on device with Tensor G4 and Gemini's Nano's multimodality. The app can understand your images content, helping you easily find what you're looking for. Okay, I hope this means that search also gets improved in Google Photos.
According to what they showed in the demo, it looks like it would be greatly improved, is my guess.
Okay. Call Assist Suite. First up, Clear Calling is taking audio quality up a notch again with the help of on-device AI and Tensor G4. Google is also rolling out Call Notes, a feature that gives you a private summary of your conversations after a call. Everything runs directly on your device for added privacy. When you activate Call Notes, the other person on the phone will be notified that it's on. Well, okay, because they have to in some states. Or do you have to? Like, some states are two-party consent.
Yeah, as soon as I read that too, I think most states you have to tell people if you're recording them.
No, it's not most states. Most states is one-party consent.
Oh, okay.
With like a good handful. California, including one of them. But it's transcribing. Does that count as being recorded if a conversation is being recorded? Like if you're writing down a conversation that you were having with someone, like that wouldn't be against the law.
No, but it just because it's transcribing, it doesn't mean it's saving it. So I don't think that's recording. I mean, the transcribing could be happening and would disappear immediately.
All right, Gemini Assistant on the Pixel 9 Pro, Pro XL, Pro Fold. Gemini takes over as the default assistant. However, you
can get out of it. You can turn it off.
Yeah, if that's your thing. Gemini is designed to help with everything from jotting down ideas, planning events, to learning new stuff. It can pull info from your Google apps, like grabbing party details from Gmail or finding nearby florists in maps. You can chat with Gemini to get more details or take actions directly related to what you're viewing on your screen. You can also snap a pic and ask Gemini how to save a struggling plant, or some of these assistant could already do, but okay.
I guess I think Gemini assistant. We could already. Yeah, I think we could already do that.
What it doesn't say is whether Gemini can play music when you've had Google Maps open on navigation. That's what I'm missing. I need most of the time.
Then you need to buy a Pixel 9 and find out.
Gemini doesn't do that right now. That's why I'm still on Google Assistant.
Okay.
How about privacy and security? With the AI buzz heating up, privacy is a big concern. Google is taking steps to address it. Oh, first off, Gemini will only access your Gmail, calendar, and other personal if you give it the thumbs up permission. If you're not into it, you can skip it. Plus, most of the AI features run directly on your device. Also, more complex tasks. Gemini doesn't send your data off to some unknown third-party AI provider. Instead, it sticks to Google's secure EdTech ecosystem, which company boasts is one of the most secure cloud setups around. Okay.
And that's it. That's the whole article. So anyway, I just thought it'd be a good idea to let you guys see a little more in-depth information on Gemini. So that's all the new stuff that's coming in it. In the presentation, all of it looked pretty cool. And like I said, they were doing all the demos live, so they couldn't fake it, and it was pretty cool. So Ruthie says, she says same as the demos were very impressive. Rumor has it that the full Apple AI will be summer of 2025. So even though next month, when they get the new iPhones out, and all of our phones get updated, we're not going to get all the Apple Intelligence stuff until summer of 2025. And then she said some features coming in September, but full on by summer next year, hopefully. So that was good to know, because I didn't know about that either until she had mentioned it when I was watching the event. Okay, moving on. And I just put this here because I thought it was a good comparison. I could keep in mind, I still have the S23 Ultra, so I could see myself trading up for the S24 Ultra at some point. After I read this article, I think for me, between the two, I would take the Samsung, but you guys, of course, decide for yourself. So I said Google S24 Ultra versus Pixel 9 Pro XL. Who's the winner? This was on Phone Arena. And again, this was the day of the event. Google Pixel. So, of course, whoever wrote this has months of hands-on experience with the S24, but the Pixel 9 Pro, of course, brand new. Pixel 9 Pro XL versus Samsung Galaxy S24 Ultra, a boxing match made in AI heaven by Peter Kostadinov. I did pretty good with that. Sometimes I'm proud of myself. And this was, I said, the date of the event. So let's go into review. Okay. The new. Huh?
Oh, I just said Eric said hi.
Oh, yeah. The new Pixel 9 Pro XL is finally here. After the usual barrage of leaks and rumors, Google's recent flagship lineup is finally here, delivering sensible upgrades and positioning the Pixel as a proper alternative to the iPhones and Galaxies of the world. One of those rivals is none other than the Galaxy S24 Ultra, which is Samsung's best conventional smartphone released in 2024 so far. The S Pen-clad flagship is one of the most versatile phones of the year and could definitely give the Pixel 9 Pro XL a run for the money. Which one should you consider? So here's a list of the differences here. You can see screen, 2,700 nits on the Pixel, 25 on the Ultra. That's the big difference up top. The big differences in camera. Pixel 9 Pro XL, megapixel main, 48 megapixel ultra wide, 48 megapixel 5x telephoto. On the 24 Ultra, 200 megapixel main, 12 megapixel ultra wide, so not as big as the 400, the 48 over here. 10 megapixel, 3 times telescope, plus 50 megapixel 5. For me, I would go for the S24 Ultra on that part. Tensor G4, of course, in the Pixel 9 Pro XL, Snapdragon 8 Gen 3 chip, which everybody loves that chip anyway. Slightly larger, 5,060 milliamp battery on the Pixel Pro, 5,000 on the S24 Ultra. Here's a difference: slower 37 wired, but faster wireless charging on 23, whereas the S24 faster wired 45, but slower wireless 15. No stylus, of course, stylus. So Design and size. Premium as premium can get. From a design perspective, we get an aluminum, mostly flat design with the Pixel 9 Pro XL as trendy these days. From a visual standpoint, it closely follows the distinct Pixel design style. A redesigned camera strip is present at the back, somewhat moving away from the distinct 3D visor look of previous Pixels. The Pixel 9 Pro XL, on the other hand, is a more conventional candy bar phone sporting a matte rear back panel and a glossy flat side frame, retaining the general style of the older Pixel flagships. A slightly different camera island at the rear replaces the 3D visor of older Pixels. Let me drop out of reader view for a second, see if a picture pops up of the back. You can see that camera. Okay, that's not what I'm looking for. Okay, so no extra picture. I thought there might be an extra picture here, but I guess not. All right, back into reader view. Sorry about that, folks. Just trying to do my best to let you get a good view of this stuff when I'm reading about them. Okay. Both phones match each other's endurance against the elements with an IP68 water and dust resistance. This means you can dunk each phone for up to half an hour in 1.5 meters of water, and they'll live to tell the tale. Meanwhile, the Galaxy S24 Ultra employs a mostly flat titanium frame, which still features an ever so slight curvature for enhanced ergonomics. It's Samsung's largest traditional phone, released thus far in 2024, with a completely flat, thank goodness, a 6.8-inch screen up front. Of course, just like previous Galaxy devices, this one comes along with the S Pen tucked in, so it's siloed right out of the box. The Pixel 9 Pro XL is lighter than the Galaxy. Yeah, this is interesting. S24 Ultra, but slightly wider and taller. So again, wider and taller, just like the Fold, but it's lighter. This essentially means that while the Galaxy S24 Ultra is technically the heavier phone, it's slightly more single-hand friendly as it is narrower. Color-wise, 9 Pro XL, obsidian, porcelain, rose quartz, and hazel, black, white, pink, and green. Galaxy S24, titanium black, titanium gray, titanium violet, titanium yellow, titanium blue, titanium green, titanium orange. I tongue-tied myself there. Display differences, a few key differences. Although the displays of the two phones will differ slightly in terms of overall size, they aren't that much different. 9 Pro XL features a 6.8 super ACTUA screen with a dynamic refresh rate of 1 to 120 hertz. High-end QHD plus OLED screen that can hit 3,000 nits of peak brightness. That's pretty good. Building up to 2,400 nits that the Pixel 8 Pro could achieve. So they jumped that up pretty well. That's spectacular and beats the Galaxy S24 Ultra in this one key area. S24 Ultra, 6.8-inch screen, QHD plus one with smooth 1 to 120 hertz refresh rate. Samsung is also participating in the brightness wars, so its latest flagship can hit upwards of 2,500 nits of peak brightness, not quite as bright as the Pixel, in the right ambient conditions. However, that's not enough to beat the new top Pixel. Regarding biometrics, the Pro XL will most certainly match the Galaxy S24 Ultra and come with an in-display fingerprint scanner. While the phone is official, we still don't have a confirmation. Oh yeah, I have seen in other videos, we have confirmation it's going to be ultrasonic fingerprints. Performance and software. Tensor G4 makes the rounds inside the Pixel 9 Pro XL. Just like previous Tensor chips, this one is betting heavily on device AI and machine learning, shifting the focus away from raw performance. AI is all the rage, with the Tensor G4 delivering a specialized environment for all things artificial intelligence. Are you playing something in the background, Ted?
No.
Oh, I hear something. I don't. It's almost like a radio is in the back or something. Just
A radio
slightly. It sounds almost like it, but it sounds like it's echoing in your room a little bit.
The
It's
audio
very
did get more raspier.
okay. So it's just slight. I guess it's just echoing a bit. No big deal though. And indeed, all the Pixel 9 devices arrive with Gemini Nano with multimodality, which is exclusively run on the Tensor G4. Google says this one is the most capable on-device AI model, which is capable of not only understanding text and speech, but also images and audio. So I should be getting at least that much on my 8A. When, I don't know. The Galaxy S24 Ultra, on the other hand, comes with the Snapdragon 8 Gen 3 chip, which is pretty much one of the top choices in 2024 as far as raw performance comes. Aside from besting our synthetic benchmarks test, the Snapdragon 8 Gen 3 is one of the more efficient chips out there, despite being based on a 4-nanometer manufacturer. They're making it sound like 4-nanometer is old, big. And I'm like, I can remember when that was a big deal, not even a year ago? Anyway, so here's some more core performance. I'm not going to go over those, but you can see the differences there. There's a whole lot of 16 gigabyte of RAM on the Pixel 9 Pro XL, more than enough to accommodate all on-device AI and necessities. And here's what may be a difference. The Galaxy S24 Ultra comes with 12 gigabytes of RAM, which is plenty-ish, but might not be quite future-proof given the massive hardware requirements of AI that will only grow in the coming years. So that's probably true. Storage-wise, the Pixel 9 Pro XL arrives at 128, 256, and 512, and 1 terabyte storage options, while the S24 Ultra is available 256, 512, and 1 terabyte. Both Samsung and Google now have top-of-the-line 7-year software update policy in place. This means the Pro 9 Pro XL will be supported until 2031, just like the S24. Surprisingly, the Pixel 9 Pro XL doesn't come. This is very true. None of the new phones come with Android 15 out of the box. The next software update is coming this year, but the Pixel 9 Pro XL arrives with Android 14 out of the box. The same applies to the Galaxy S24 Ultra. Well, yeah, it's been out since February, along with One UI 6.1 based on Android 14. But Samsung will probably release the One UI 7 based on Android 15 not long after Google officially pushes the software out. Yeah, I'm guessing it'll be very close. Camera. Little change on both accounts. Pixel 9 Pro XL is equipped with a 50 megapixel primary that features an aperture of f.168 and a substantial sensor size of 1.131. Both the ultra-wide and 5x telephoto are 48 megapixel cameras with fairly large apertures measuring f2.8 and f1.7. Despite lacking dedicated cameras for those specific zooms, the Pixel 9 Pro XL boasts an optical quality zoom at both 2x and 10x thanks to sensor cropping and hybrid zoom. The Pixel 9 Pro XL has a plethora of AI and software features on board. Now get this. Pro controls, ADME, macro focus, night sight, astrophotography, portrait mode, face unblur, long exposure, action pan, real tone, panorama, top shot, frequent faces. Both devices also support the AI-powered Magic Editor, Magic Eraser, Best Take, Photo Unblur, Zoom Enhance, and Portrait Light. I don't even know what Portrait Light is. In the case of the Galaxy S24 Ultra, we got the same camera as the one on the S23 Ultra, which I have, but with a twist. Instead of a 10 megapixel periscope camera with a 10 times optical zoom, we got a 50 megapixel telephoto with 5 times optical zoom. This turned out to be an upgrade that surprised me, as the device still hit the same 100x space zoom levels, but delivered arguably better zoom quality, which is good, which is key in such scenarios. Overall, it will be a toss-up as to which phone will deliver better image quality. So far, it seems the Galaxy S24 Ultra could have the upper hand as it employs a more versatile setup, again, which makes me lean more towards the S24. Battery life and charging. Pro XL comes with a 5,060 milliamp battery, which would be a negligible upgrade over the previous model's 5,000 milliamp. Paired with the efficient Tensor G4, the next top Pixel phone should deliver excellent battery life, more likely than not better than the Pixel 8 Pro, or at least we hope so. The S24 Ultra boasts a 5,000 milliamp battery, which delivers superb battery life in concert with the Snapdragon 8 Gen 3. It fares pretty well in our custom battery tests, setting high standards for all other flagships to follow in 2024. Read more, blah, blah, blah. Which one should come out on top? We are dying to know as well, but they haven't gotten it yet, of course. But we will first have to put the Pixel 9 Pro XL through the paces of our custom battery test. In terms of charging, and we already told you, you got 37 wired and 23 wireless on the Pixel, and 45 wired faster, but slower with wireless. Okay, then you got a spec comparisons down here, and we're not going to go over all that. Summary. Overall, Google seems to be prepping another high-level rival to the Galaxy S24 Ultra, which will undoubtedly escalate the war for the crown in the Android space. The Pixel 9 Pro XL shapes to be, I guess it should say shaped up to be, the phone to get if you're into AI in 2024 with sensible upgrades. Now, that's probably true, but I'm thinking Samsung's going to try to keep up in the AI, is my guess. I don't know for sure. And notable improvements in most key areas that matter. With a fresher design and potentially great cameras, it's the one to look out for. At the same time, S24 Ultra is undoubtedly the best alternative and easily one of the best phones released in 2024. Which one is better remains to be seen, but so far it seems like the S24 Ultra could retain its crown. So if I end up getting one, I'm probably going to trade my 23 for the 24. And that's not a sure thing yet. So I just thought that was a good comparison. Let's see. Ruthie says, okay. In my opinion, would choose a S24 Ultra. Me too. But she says Pixel 9 Pro is very tempting. Yeah, they're both expensive. That's what's stopping me, the money right now. But I do have a trade-in device, so we'll see. All right. Ted, you want to take this iPhone Air article?
Yes, I'll take that.
All right. I've got it on Tech Radar. Let me pull it up. All right. Whenever you are ready, I'm going to drop it into Reader View. Okay.
New iPhone Air rumors suggest it could be a reason to skip this year's iPhone 16.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
This is also from Tuesday, so. Sorry, interrupt. Go ahead.
Oh, no, yeah. We've been hearing for a few months now that Apple is apparently working on adding a thinner iPhone to its lineup. Usually people want smaller phones, but now thin is the new small. Early this month, new details emerged as the slimmed down device could have a new iPhone Air name, and that's been backed by Bloomberg's Mark Gurman, along with a few extra details that could have considering skipping this year's iPhone 16. As Gurman's Power On newsletter explains, iPhone 16 update is likely to be a relatively minor one, but the iPhone Air could finally be something different. Apparently, coming in 2025, this iPhone could have a much thinner chassis than existing Apple iPhone, while retaining most of the specification of the base level iPhone 17. Importantly, Gurman also says that the iPhone Air will sit somewhere between the 17 and the 17 Pro in price. This could make it much more tempting than a higher-end iPhone Ultra, an earlier rumor that appears to have died down for now. All of this could make it a pretty intriguing phone for Apple fans if you feel like you don't need the high-end features or eye-watering price tag of the Apple's Pro and Pro Max phones, but still want something that looks and feels different in your hand. The iPhone Air could absolutely tick those boxes, particularly if you don't want that svelte frame to wreck your finances. Compare that to the rumors rolling around this year's iPhone 16 range, you might find that it's a good reason to sit on the sidelines for another 12 months, unless you really need an iPhone this year or enticed by any of the iPhone 16's rumors. You might do better to wait for the iPhone Air to appear,
To appear. Yeah.
breaking the fourth wall. According to Gurman, this is just the start of Apple's plans. In the future, he says that the company wants to bring the slim design to all of its iPhones, including the flagship Pro and Pro Max models, although this likely won't happen until 2027 at the earliest. But until that day comes, next year's iPhone Air might be your best opportunity to get an iPhone that feels like the future without costing you Pro Max level cash. Of course, there are a lot of questions surrounding the iPhone Air, the biggest of which is whether it will be able to solve the problems of the fourth iPhone. Apple has struggled with its iPhone mini and iPhone Plus models, none of which seem to sell particularly well. The iPhone Air, on the other hand, could be a great way to attract upgraders because it apparently won't just be a smaller or larger version of the iPhone. It's now something entirely different. It's a slim iPhone. Apple is tired of all this body inclusivity, plus sized models, wants to focus on back to the basics. So if you're thinking about getting a new iPhone and aren't desperate to snap up with the iPhone 16 range has to offer, you might want to wait until next year for the iPhone. I feel like I've said this like 4 times. After so many years of iterative updates, it just might be the iPhone that gets us excited to upgrade again.
But to the point you made earlier, you thought people, why would people want thinner? Well, it seems like Apple is very big on making everything thinner in the future. Actually, it sounds like that's going to be a big deal to them.
Really, from the Plus to the Pro Maxes, they've gotten bigger.
Can you imagine when Jerry Rig everything gets his hands on that thing? He's gonna tear that thing up.
I think he gives the iPads a pass. Besides the first one,
but this is a phone, not a pad. So. I mean, he's probably going to snap this like it's nothing.
Because I remember he did snap the first iPad Pro, but he gave the rest of them a pass. Like, because it's the nature of them; they're thin.
Yeah. Anyway, all right. So now I have one story left, and like I said, I put this story in simply because I figure so many people have Samsung Rangers that it might be you might want to know about this, and they're calling it. A recall, but it's not really a recall, but this is on Tom's Guide. Samsung recalls over 1 million electric ranges due to fire hazard. Check yours now. So if you have a Samsung electric range, check your front knobs. The company is offering replacement kits for those affected. So they're not really recalling them, they're giving you replacement kits, but you'll see in the story. Let's drop it into reader view. Samsung has issued a recall for over 1 million sliding electric ranges due to a potential fire hazard related to the front knobs on the ovens. According to Consumer Product Safety Commission reports, the affected ranges have been involved in approximately 250 fires since 2013. Now, of course, most of them probably not that serious, but there's some serious ones. The recall announced by both the CSPC and Samsung covers 30 models, which does not include one of the best electric ranges on the market. So I guess their super expensive one is okay. Of sliding electric ranges sold between 2013 and 2024, with prices ranging from $1,250 to $3,050. So that's not their highest end, I gather. According to the releases from CSPC and Samsung, the front knobs can be accidentally activated by pets or people. So you can see maybe a dog jumped up and pulls on it, and it could start a fire, which poses a fire hazard, especially if flammable items are sitting on top of the range. That makes sense. Recall isn't the correct word, as neither Samsung nor CSPC are asking people to return their ranges to stores or Samsung. Instead, Samsung is offering free knob locks or covers depending on the model to customers. Now, this is for anybody who's interested. This is where you getting your information to get them. To receive a set, you must visit the Samsung support site, calling 1-833-775-0120 from 9 a.m. to 8 p.m. ET Monday through Friday, or by emailing at rangersupport@sea.samsung.com. Apparently, over the last decade, Samsung has received over 300 reports of unintentional activation via the front-mounted knobs by people and pets. Reportedly, there have been 40 injuries, this is the serious stuff, from fires caused by the bad knobs, with 18 fires that caused extensive property damage. I'll bet you that because people had flammable stuff sitting on the stove. But 8 incidents required medical attention, with at least 7 pet deaths because of fires. Both Samsung and CPSC urge customers to never leave anything on top of a range that isn't used, as such items can ignite if the range is accidentally activated or left on. Fires can occur when items are left on the top surface of any range that is accidentally activated or left on. Samsung claims in their press release that the new slide ranges introduced this past April, now get this, says the new knobs, have a new kind of front-mounted knob that requires a pinching action before they can be pushed and rotated to turn on. Sounds like a good idea to me. This was done to eliminate accidental activations. The CPSC announcement doesn't specify, but Samsung was sure to note that public data from CPSC includes numerous reports of ranges with front-mounted knobs from different range makers that were activated accidentally. Sure, if they all build them the same way, this can happen with any of them, I guess. This means that the issue is potentially not limited to Samsung, but so far, Samsung is the only company that has issued a recall or a remedy. Probably Samsung sells more ranges than anybody else, or than most people, most companies. Samsung says they are working with CPSC and other manufacturers in a joint gas and electric range knob working group to improve knob safety standards to address inadvertent activation. So like I said, I just included that as kind of a safety measure for any of you that might have it, because Samsung is so popular. I wouldn't be a bit surprised if any of you guys actually had one. So that's it. And we actually kept Ted in here tonight. So any new adventures with the bicycle or anything?
No.
That's a very good thing.
I know. No news is good news.
Exactly. Have you found, since you, how long you been riding the bike to work and back?
I think it's like 3 years now. Maybe like
okay.
more.
Have you found that it's putting you in much better shape because of it?
Better shape.
Well, because ever since I've known you,
Maybe
you've always kind of been in good shape, as far as I can tell.
Hasn't really helped with weight loss or things like that.
Well, you don't need weight loss. Kind of like me, really.
No, not like last year. True. I put on 20 pounds last year.
Well, I haven't
for the holidays
you,
during the holidays.
I haven't seen you since 2018, but when you stand up, you still come across as slim as always, you know. But you are older. I mean, it's been 6 years since I've seen you.
Yeah, but so hasn't helped with getting that holiday weight off. But great, I'm sure my heart is thanking me every time I get on the bicycle.
Absolutely, absolutely. My heart is like the strongest thing. Well, I think one of the reasons I didn't have to worry too much about the pandemic is because my resistance is always super, super high. It's very, very hard to make me sick. I always help. Now I've been exercising for just a little over 42 years now. And as the years have gone by, I've kept adding and exercising more and more. Well, when I first started exercising when I was 36, I used to catch 3-4 colds a year, like most people, especially in New York and New Jersey. Then as I get in better and better shape, the colds kept getting further and further and further apart to the point where I would catch a cold once every 6 years and it'd be gone in 3 days. when I got that second very high strain of COVID, 3 days it was gone.
Mm.
So it's very hard to make me sick, and that's all because of exercise. So, all right, Eleanor saying good night, Eleanor. Glad you stayed
Night.
with us. Proud of you, Eleanor. And Ruthie says, great broadcast. Thanks, Ruthie.
Oh,
So glad to have you for the whole thing. Ted. Anything else new you want to say or anything else?
although I think in a highlight though, I was able to while I was cycling to work, I was able to do 6 miles in 27 minutes.
Okay. Now what would you normally do it in?
30 minutes.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I'm happy.
So cutting 3 minutes off, that's pretty good.
Yeah. I was there was a guy on an e-bike and I recognized the e-bike too. It was like a $5,000 e-bike.
Right.
And so I was able to like coast behind him, getting
Yeah.
clean air.
Yeah. Yeah, you can get it. You always get a good draft behind that. I see that with the Tour de France guys all the time.
But yeah, that was that. Ooh.
Okay, well, good.
But also,
I'm
yeah, the
glad
benefit
everything-
is just being able to get around in the city easily and not have to fret about parking is like usually the
Yeah,
biggest
exactly. That's great.
enjoyment
That's
of
great.
cycling.
Yeah, long as you're safe. We're good. See, I don't know if I've lost my guts, but I don't have the nerve to ride my bicycle outside the park anymore. In the park, there's a couple of places where I'm kind of riding in the streets, but there's so few cars. You're inside a park after all.
Mm-hmm.
So, but yeah, I don't have the guts to ride on the streets with cars anymore. I just lost that. Now, back when I was in Jersey, now of course this would have been late '80s, early '80s. I used to take a bicycle and ride 4 miles to work on one of the busiest roads in our entire area. Could I do that today? No, it scared me to death. So yeah, the only time I'm with cars with 2 wheels now is when I'm on my motorcycle. So, but yeah, as far as the e-bikes, it's I'd say the vast majority of bikes passing me now in the park for the last 6 months at least is e-bikes. And like I always say, e-bikes to me are for people like you who are commuting.
Mm-hmm.
If you have a bike for exercise, you're just being lazy if you get an e-bike. That's how I see it.
Eleanor, talking about an Ironman. Is that like a triathlon?
Yes, it's a very big deal here in Chattanooga. A very big deal. And and they get people for their Ironman competition is big enough. I guess the prizes are pretty good. I don't even know what they are, but they get people from all over the world every year that come to it. So
Okay.
as long as you can run and swim, you can join.
Running, I could maybe survive, but swimming, I'm not the best swimmer.
Now, swimming, see, I'm certainly at almost 80. I'm better at swimming than I am at running. I don't swim much, but I've always been a good swimmer, and swimming is easy. Always been easy for me. If I run now, if I'm going to be on a tennis court, otherwise I see no reason to run, especially with my
Bionic knee.
replacement. Yeah. I'm trying to think what the metal is called.
Titanium.
Titanium. Thank you. Yeah, because when I had my operation in 2015, before I said yes to the operation, I said to the doctor, "Will I be able to run on a tennis court?" He said, "Yeah." I said, "Sign me up," and I did prove that I can run on a tennis court and run pretty good when I have to too. It's one thing about tennis; it'll make you go get that ball.
Yeah.
But the one time I played about 4 years ago. It's been about 4 years since I played now, but we were playing doubles. And there was 2 older guys up around my age on the other side, and me and a very young kid from work on my side. Well, one of the guys, he and I were at the net, and the guy hit a lob over my head, and I mean really hit a good one. And I took off after it, and I caught up to it, and I swung my racket and ended up hitting a winner on them. And the kid was so impressed that I could run down that ball and hit a winner, and it made me feel really good.
Okay. Helps you pull off again when you're 100.
Yeah, well, I always said I intend to play tennis for my 100th birthday, and I mean to keep that. Uh, yes, Eleanor, they absolutely do biking. That Ironman is 1/3 biking, 1/3 running, 1/3 swimming. So, and yeah, when they're in town, me working for Enterprise, if the days that I'm working, I only work 3 days a week. But if we go to one of the downtowns, you can see them riding all over the place downtown, and you worry about them in that traffic because these people ride fast, they move like car speed. So I get nervous for them with all the cars around them. But yeah, it's a real big deal in Chattanooga. So if you ever want to join, just look up Chattanooga Ironman. It's a big deal. And like I said, there are people from different parts of the world every single year.
All right, maybe one day, probably.
Yeah. Oh, and
40.
I think they do some riding up one of the local mountains around here. And believe me, to me, it is tough. To them, it may not be a big deal, but to me, it's tough. And about 7 or 8 years ago, the week of the I know they used to have a once a year bike race itself with pros, and a few of the guys from even the Tour de France would come. But there was a young kid, I don't even know his name, but he was practicing going up that mountain about 6 years ago. Well, he fell off and died.
Off the mountain?
Off the mountain, because there are parts of that mountain that Eleanor doesn't even like to ride a car up the side of that mountain. Let's put it that way. Okay.
My goodness.
But
Sorry.
yeah, it's the only time I heard of a guy. Now, I know in the Tour de France, in the 100 years or so, I think there have been 3 guys that died, and all 3 of them was in mountains. But of course, they're riding in the Alps and in the Pyrenees, which is a lot more mountain than we have around here. You know, it's more than you have in the Rockies.
They got to deal with altitude sickness and probably.
Exactly. Yeah. Because I've seen those guys ride up into clouds. When I've seen a couple of times in the last 15 years that I've been watching Tour de France, they ride up into snow a couple of times where it actually got so cold at the top, they had snow flurries, and they still got it done. So once I started watching those guys in Tour de France, I learned a lot of respect for them because these guys are very tough. The most common injury they have is a broken collarbone because they go over their bars. But that's the most common injury you find with any of the pros. And I've never seen any of them not be back on the bike and racing again in 3 months. So pretty tough guys.
Their bikes are too good. Their brakes are too good.
Well, they see the problem with the dangerous parts, and if you watch it a lot like I do, is when they're going down, the guys who are really good at, and there's some guys who are great at ascending. Those are the guys who usually win the Tour de France and stuff because they can climb a mountain. But the guys who want to catch up, there are experts in going downhill. Well, these guys hardly touch their brakes except when they get to the horseshoe bends. And boy, they will scare you. They'll be doing 50 miles an hour and hardly touch their brakes at all. And it's scary to watch. And every year
we're still live.
Last month.
Okay.
Every year it's the same as it was in July. They had the Tour de France. And there's always a couple of guys. It's always in curves because they hit a little bit of dirt going down a mountain, and one guy flew off his bike. He hit the dirt. The bike hit the little fence. He went flying. Thank God he landed in the grass. But he must have traveled 20 feet in the air before he even touched the ground. And he was doing about 45, 50 when he hit that fence. So, but he was okay. He finished the race. Guys are tough, man. So I admire them a whole lot. Anyway, so now you people know my 3rd favorite sport. My first 2 are Formula One racing and IndyCar racing. And I guess biking is probably tied with football for me. So, Ted, I'm so glad you made it tonight.
Glad to be here. So I needed to, since I I didn't know I missed the Pixel event.
Okay, yeah. Well, you can go back and watch it. It's pretty interesting. And with some of the AI stuff, if you actually watch them do their demonstrations, because they're doing them all live, very impressive. Very impressive. Ruthie likes baseball. Okay. Now, see, I grew up. To show you how old I really am. When I was a kid, we used to go see the Brooklyn Dodgers. Okay. My father took me to a World Series game in 1955. I was 10 years old, between the Brooklyn Dodgers and the New York Yankees. Now, you know, that was a special event. Well, back then, you could walk up to the ticket booth and buy a ticket the day of that game. And that's where I remember seeing Jackie Robinson and Pee Wee Reese and Duke Snyder. This is all when they were still in Brooklyn. They moved when I was a teenager, I think, to California. But then I used to go to New York Giant games before they went to San Francisco. And of course, I went to a few Yankee games also. So I've been around. And of course, when the Mets came around, I was a huge Met fan until, let's see, I was about 19 or 20 when they first came around. So I stayed a Met fan until mid-'80s, I guess. And yeah, about mid-'80s. And by that time, I started watching racing. I started watching IndyCar racing, and I started watching NASCAR racing. Well, after I watched racing, baseball got very slow for me. And I just totally lost interest in baseball. So
I do.
Ruthie said she
isn't so
remembers.
fun to watch.
Ruthie said she remembers the Brooklyn Dodgers. But were you old enough? You weren't born when they. No, you weren't born in 19. No, I guess you. No, you weren't born in 1955. I wouldn't think. And she said Casey. Yes, Casey Stengel was the manager of the Brooklyn Dodgers. That's right. Anyway, so that's enough sports reminiscing. You got anything going this weekend? Anything special?
Nah, nothing special.
Okay. Are you doing stuff with your camera much?
Yeah, I've been taking photos. I'm actually, after this, I'm gonna have to edit photos for this couple.
Oh, okay, good. So you're making some money. I'm glad.
Yes, some, but it was a good.
Some is better than none.
Some. Also, the food made it worth it though.
Oh, very good. Now, see, I make a little bit of money from Google from my videos, but I don't get food. Well, thanks, Ruthie. Glad you enjoyed it. All right, sir. I guess we're done for tonight. So glad you were here. Ruthie's asking about your camera.
The one I shoot with most of the time is the Fujifilm X-H1.
One of his two. Do you still have the other one that you didn't get rid of yet?
And it's what I'm streaming on.
Oh, okay, good.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's pretty much
All
doesn't
right.
leave the house much, to be honest.
Okay. Well, you said you had gotten into the other one, so I'm glad you're making money with it. That's all.
Making money off the old
All right.
one.
Oh, you're using the old one for the money
Yeah.
maker?
Yeah. Funny.
Why, is it still that much of a learning curve with the newer one?
Yeah.
Okay. Sounds like it's way too much for me, that's for sure. Now, of course, just shows you how old the stuff I use. The camera that I'm using that you're seeing me on every week is the Canon T3i. So, but it still does the job. So what's that? 2013 since that's been around?
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's still a great camera. So I have three, but I always find the T3i is the best one for me when I'm broadcasting live. So, all right, folks, thanks for coming in here. Thanks for listening to us ramble on, and thanks for sticking with us for the stories. I hope you enjoyed them, and hopefully we'll be back next week. You know, I'll be back next week, but hopefully we'll get Ted again. So I hope everybody has a very blessed weekend. And let's remember, we all do better when we love each other. Good night, folks.
Good night.